Everyone. Too bad, I just missed out on the selfie. But wow, standing here right where I am now, it truly feels I mistakenly stepped into a crowd room in Beijing or Shanghai. Kudos to all our friends who flew miles to join us and accompany us in this investment journey today. So from me as well, welcome to Bangladesh, thank you, and ni hao. I wanted to start today with a story of two common men who did very uncommon things, Mr. Leo and Mr. Felix. 30 years ago, Mr. Leo took from China to Gazipur. 16 years back, Mr. Felix took the same flight to Nilphamari. Those two individuals came to Bangladesh, started doing business, found opportunities, weathered storms, challenges, and persevered. And today, both of them combined are employing 1,000 people in Gazipur and Nilphamari, exporting more than $500 million out of Bangladesh. But their true success and legacy actually lies beyond these numbers. They infused hope, belief, and transformed the livelihoods of the people in Gazipur and Nilphamari. These two gentlemen gave their absolute best to Bangladesh, just the same way that Bangladesh gave to them. This is the story of not only Mr. Leo or Mr. Felix, but of 100,000 other Chinese nationals living in Bangladesh today. And this could be the story of yours as well. Because this is the launchpad that the Bangladesh-China partnership gives us to take the economic cooperation forward. Talking about economic cooperation, we are celebrating indeed the golden jubilee of Bangladesh-China economic diplomacy. China is our largest trade partner. In 2023, we imported more than $20 billion of goods. They became our number one FDI source country. And as of today, more than 1,000 companies are operating in Bangladesh. But honestly, they're only scratching the tip of the iceberg. And the opportunities are so much more. Let's take the example of apparel and garments. You all know that we are number 2 in exports of garments, right after China. And we export around $40 billion. 10 to 12 billion of our exported items are raw material imports, 50% of which comes from China. Imagine a scenario when instead of sourcing those raw materials from China, the Chinese businesses relocate those into our shores. Just that scenario alone would have opened a win-win situation for everyone involved. Because the Chinese businesses, just by relocating their business to our shores, be able to lower their costs by 2 to 3 times, meaning higher profitability. They would have received all the operational benefits in economic zones and ultimately shortening the lead times which would have given them access to new markets and new clients. Similar opportunities, to be honest, lie in all other sectors, be it food, agriculture, renewables. It's actually on us to capitalize on this opportunity. And if you indeed are planning to take advantage of that situation, we do have and offer you a full suite of investment opportunities. Be it investing in a new factory in our economic zones, let's call it greenfield operations, or investing in a private company or our state-owned enterprises where you can bring in your financial capital and expertise to generate more and more returns. I'm sure the next question you're going to ask me, well, I can do that anywhere else. What's so special about Bangladesh, right? And this is where the fundamental business case of Bangladesh comes into play. And to be honest, the soundness of our business case is just a mathematical reality. You are looking at one of the fastest growing local consumer markets in the world with probably one of the most affordable sourcing destinations. The two of those factors combined, voila, gives you alpha returns, one of the highest returns in the world. Just putting this perspective into numbers, our middle and affluent class today size is 34 million. That's bigger than the size of entire population in Malaysia. If you set up a factory here, the average cost is 2 to 3 times cheaper than any other neighboring countries, as you see in the table in the middle. And with our average age being only 26, we can guarantee that advantage will decades to come. Those two factors combined is what I just explained in the last table. The companies who have been operating here have been operating for decades and have been earning more than 2 to 3 times profit than what they do in other parts of the world. While all of this is good, we also acknowledge that there are some teething problems that we have when you try to start a business in our country and enter here. We have talked to countless number of Chinese investors, and these are some of the high frequent issues that they always tell us. I have challenges in getting a visa and work permit. I do have challenges in getting my licensing, or I am not sure about the policy consistency. What we have done is we have taken note of all these comments and common challenges that our Chinese businesses do tell us and have given a very structured, time-bound set of reforms that we want to do to set the course correct and achieve the direction. As you can see, our set of reforms can be classified into 2 different categories. One would be immediate set of reforms, which gives you outcome. The other one would be long-term policy interventions. Let me take you through 1 or 2 of them. Through one-stop service. Whenever we talk about a one-stop service, there are 2 arms to it. Online, which I know everyone talks about. But what we are trying to start is also an offline arm of a one-stop service, where just like any other investment bank, you have a customer relationship manager, the job of which team would be to handhold the investor from point A to B during their investment journey, taking care of all their problems. I just talked about work permit and visa simplification. We did a thorough deep dive, taking support and help from investors, stakeholders, and global experts, and have designed a framework with a target to reduce the lead time and duration of work permits by almost 50%. You are going to very soon see us rolling out a few of these initiatives. The last one I want to talk about is our port strategy and the enhancement in our port capacity and efficiency that we are doing. The chart that you see on the left is the increase in our port handling capacity. And as you can see, we plan to increase that by 6 times. We will do that by increasing the efficiency of our current terminals, building new terminals. We are even throwing deep sea port and a free trade zone into the mix for that. And also welcoming international operators to come to increase the competitiveness of our port handling capacity. While this national port strategy is ongoing, as you see on the right, we have also simplified the customs processes with the help of our friends from NBR by launching the Green Channel. So all of these reforms will help us to simplify the investment climate. The question is, though, how are we measuring our success? And what would be a good lead indicator to see or track the progress? For us, we believe a good lead indicator would be to have a set of gold standard case studies, which almost becomes like a playbook or a blueprint for next governments to come and carry forward. I want to highlight one similar case study of Hyundai Industries, our friends from Wuxi, China. Hyundai Industries came knocking at the doors of Bangladesh government on 4th December 2024. I remember that because that was my 4th day at the job. From 4th December 2024 to them signing this MOU in April, it only took 4 months. Probably one of the fastest lead time that any investor had to face in Bangladesh. And this was only possible through thorough interministerial coordination and giving them customized solutions to their problems. The outcome? They are now intending to set up a man-made fiber factory employing more than 10,000 employees in Bangladesh. So all of this together what is our picture of success? We believe once we are able to revive this investment landscape and using our natural strengths, we will be able to position Bangladesh as a global factory, a place where you bring your raw materials, make your product, and sell them back. Bangladesh, as you can see, is located at the heart of Asia, giving access to 2.5 billion people and connecting north to south, east to west, and south to southeast. But to be honest, you should invest in this market not only for financial returns, but something bigger. Because just like Mr. Leo and Mr. Felix, this is an investment behind the transformation journey. You invest in a population which has more than 50% of its workforce below the age of 30. You improve their skills, you change their livelihoods. So the time to invest in that transformation journey for all of you is now. Look, I wanted to finish my presentation with one last slide. For the last 10-12 minutes, I gave you all the financial and economic reasons on why you should invest in Bangladesh. But truth be told, Bangladesh's unique point today is that it's a blue chip investment. Bangladesh's macroeconomic trajectory, as you can see, has all the markers of all those countries at certain points in time after which they became economic powerhouses. So Bangladesh today stands at an inflection point. It stands at the crossroads from becoming good to great. It's a blue chip investment, similar to the one which you and your forefathers took part in China 25 years back. Once more, such a generational blue chip investment opportunity is unfolding right here, right in front of your eyes. I urge all of you to take advantage of it. I urge all of you to invest in this magic that we call Bangladesh. Thank you. You can scan this and find my presentation and download it. I hope you enjoy the rest of the program. Sheshe.
Breakfast, tiffin কিংবা snack time এ মজাদার আয়োজন মানে all time bread.